The Pod Network Entertainment.
Because not only do they get off on being power trippers and abusers of authority, it also makes us, the watcher, hate them even more. Diba? Kung didoble nila yung kukupala nila, and I'm pretty sure this isn't the last straw. Diba? This is just the beginning of whatever arc they're on, this villain arc that they're on. And I'm pretty sure pagdating ng Anarchy in the Arena, lalabas ulit yung kakupalan na yan.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to you.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey
everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run.
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Czar, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You're listening to the longest-running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Chino Liao, and Emile Nate checking in for the second half of our audio-only version of the live stream where we talk about AEW and some TNA talk as well, pati na rin yung cyber fight and WWE relationship and how the new president of that company wants to maintain it as one of his goals based on yung answers niya sa press conference just a few hours ago. Strap right in because part 2 of the live stream is coming at ya right about now. All right, let's cross over to AEW and talk about the latest in the Young Bucks' reign of terror as the EVPs of AEW. So, nung collision, they had a confrontation with their longtime friend and their fellow AEW founding father, Christopher Daniels. And then this week, the Young Bucks faced CD, the Fallen Angel, and Matt Sydal in a tag team match. And then after nilang talunin sina Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels, the Young Bucks fired Christopher Daniels in front of an entire arena. So, I don't know kung tulad to nung nangyari kay Trent Barreta and Chuck Taylor where, they wrote Chuck Taylor out since he was legitimately going to end his in-ring career. I don't know what they're doing here with Christopher Daniels kasi it's a big thing to, suddenly bring Christopher Daniels, who's basically a living legend from the non-WWE side of the industry at this point, to trot him out here and then put him in a moment where sinisante siya ng Young Bucks on TV. So, may nabalita ba kayo about like what could be going on behind the scenes here?
Wala naman. I think this is a kayfabe firing. Kasi they are telling the story of the Young Bucks having this reign of terror nga, like you said. And kanina nga, I was mad at the Young Bucks. Yung character ng Young Bucks kasi you're an EVP of a company and then you're gonna fire your talent relations guy. Isn't that something that will affect the company and possibly lead to its downfall? Kasi you're firing the guy who is supposed to be the one where the talents talk to. So, yun yung kayfabe feeling ko na galit ako sa Young Bucks kasi they are EVPs yet they're doing everything to harm the company. So, also in a way I love this character kasi it pushes the buttons of the people who have this perception of the Young Bucks being as power trippers just because they are EVPs, even though hindi naman talaga sila ganun, di ba? And TK pretty much is the one who's doing everything there dun sa AEW. So I don't think they are firing CD for real, or maybe CD's just gonna take some time off to heal some injuries. I still think he's still under AEW kasi he's an important part nga of their backstage as the talent relations guy.
A good job on the Bucks for doing this. Sinabi ni Emile na ganito sa Bucks. That's what they're supposed to do. Supposed to make you angry, diba? As the top heels of the company now. So firing Christopher Daniels, embarrassing him like that, a living legend Diba? The guy with the best moonsault ever, quote unquote. Just getting embarrassed and humiliated like that on TV. Such a big deal for the Bucks, diba? Because not only do they get off on being power trippers and abusers of authority, it also makes us, the watcher, hate them even more. Diba? Kung didoble nila yung kukupala nila, and I'm pretty sure this isn't the last straw. Diba? This is just the beginning of whatever arc they're on, this villain arc that they're on. And I'm pretty sure pagdating ng Anarchy in the Arena, lalabas ulit yung kakupalan na yan. So it's far from over for them, and they just keep amping up their assholeness as the weeks go by. So kudos to them for really stepping up and being the top heels right now dito sa AEW.
Yeah, I don't know what the end game here is na ano yun, marireinstate si Christopher Daniels kapag napatumba na tong Young Bucks, tong Elite, because I don't think na matatapos agad-agad tong Reign of Terror nila. Like, fast forward to Anarchy in the Arena, I highly doubt na matatalo dito yung Elite because they have to really go on a long Reign of Terror for us to feel, diba, na sila yung pinakakupal sa AEW. But that being said, the longer this lasts, the more a storyline like this also feels like it supersedes yung World Heavyweight Championship storyline. And I'm not sure kung napag-usapan natin to last week. Siguro parang pahapyaw lang. But Chino, I want to start with you kasi we haven't had you on the live stream for a while. Ano yung feeling na, Swerve na matagal ng bata ng madlang people finally becomes world champion, and yet yung story niya isn't even the number one story kasi all everyone's talking about is tanga na, ang kupal ng EVPs, ang kupal ng Young Bucks, finire nila si Christopher Daniels.
I think the Anarchy in the Arena match, let's start with that first, it's just a stopgap for the Young Bucks. And sooner or later, iikot na nila yung attention nila kay Swerve. Because if you guys remember, si Bucks ang pumili kay Christian, di ba? He was a hand-picked
EVP approved.
opponent.
That's right.
Diba? EVP approved challenger for Swerve. Diba? So what's to say that they stop at Christian Cage? Diba? Or diba? What's to say na hindi nila ibalik yung attention nila kay Swerve? Diba? If they want total control of the company, syempre kailangan kontrolado na nila yung champion nila. Diba? And at this point, si Swerve, while he's dealing with what's left of the Mogul Embassy, diba? He's also still the top face of the company right now. And the top face, sooner or later, has to meet with the top heel of the company. Diba? Doon papunta yan. Diba? And while now it doesn't look like that, I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, if they do their storytelling right, that's where it's all gonna end up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thoughts here. Ngayon, kasi sobrang bago pa lang nitong unit ng The Elite. This new iteration of The Elite, the four of them. So, they will establish them first as this dominant unit na, hey, we control everything, we control AEW. And then darating doon sa point na the two paths will cross and will cross each other, and yun na, like they will do everything in their power to beat Swerve for the world title, and then doon na ikot yun. Like you still got guys who are still out who is inaabangan natin na bumalik. Guys like Hangman, Kenny, MJF. So madami pang parts ng story na to na it's, I think, too early to judge na why is the world champion not involved in the biggest storyline in the company. So madami pa tayong abangan with the things in AEW.
Endgame daw, sabi ni Dr. G, they'll beat up the Elite, then Kenny Omega will reinstate CD and join the good guys in beating the Elite. Yeah, but like, how long is that gonna take? Kasi binalita lang this week na magsa-surgery pa lang itong si Kenny Omega for diverticulitis. So medyo matagal-tagal pa bago siya bumalik, guys.
Or TK. Pag bumalik si TK, di ba? Pag bumalik
I mean, he doesn't have Darby Allin's healing genes. Hindi naman siya gawa sa adamantium eh.
If end game of all of this is to make Tony Khan a face, I quit, man. Ayoko na.
Hindi pa ba siya face para sa'yo, Chino, matapos matapos yung i-take yung Meltzer driver na yun?
And after he tried to sell the neck brace on the NFL draft, I guess.
Hindi ba babyface moves yun para sa'yo, Chino? Hindi pa ba kulang pa ba yun?
Ang hirap kasi niya kampehan sa totoo lang. Ang hirap niya kampehan. So if the end of this is, yung end game nito, bunot dulo nito, is just Tony Khan, comes to save the day. Parang, tayo na ba't makakampihan yung bilyonaryo, diba? And that's what's essentially going to happen. Diba? Kung ganun nga yung ending nila. Kakampihan mo yung bilyonaryo, kakampihan mo yung boss na hindi marunong maging boss. And I don't know, man. It's just it's a whole different conversation, I guess.
Yeah, no. I get it. Far be it from me to tell people na please be sympathetic towards this billionaire. Pero now it makes me want to ask, what's it gonna take for TK to be sympathetic to you? Na ipapako siya sa cruise, na ipapenitensya siya sa harap ng buong Daily's place?
I mean, run the company better. Jesus Christ. Stop showing public fights. Stop showing backstage fights in public. Dali-dali lang naman yung gagawin niya. But no, he refuses. He rather go for the clout. So, good job. Siya yung may pera eh. Good job.
All right, speaking of yung mga kaaway ng Elite, Eddie Kingston's been taken out. He got attacked by the Elite at NJPW Resurgence over the weekend. So surprise appearance from the Young Bucks who haven't been seen on New Japan for a certain number of years now. So wala na si Eddie Kingston sa Anarchy in the Arena. Ang pumalit sa kanya, we found out at the very end of Dynamite, was Darby Allin, who came back just 2 months after getting injured. So etong taong to nabundol ng bus, okay? He had a broken ass foot. And 2 months later, ito na, ready na siya mag-wrestling ulit. Like they said na mga 1 year siyang mawawala. Di siya makakapag Mount Everest at lahat-lahat. Somebody tweeted na, saan ba ito nagpagaling? Sa ospital ng GTA?
The dude is immortal. That's all I'll say. He's fucking Wolverine. He's Deadpool. He's all these people. Kasi, paano siya bumalik from a car accident, essentially. So,
yeah.
Then,
sobrang wild. Wild na nangyari dito kay Darby Allin. Like, I don't know how healthy he is. Like, you have to ask yourself that. Like, legit ba? Healthy na ba siya talaga? Because if this guy is gonna enter a really wild setting like Anarchy in the Arena, tapos hindi pa pala siya 100%, given na 2 months pa lang naman yung lumilipas since yung aksidente niya, pucha. Isn't this asking for trouble?
It is. Like, yung knowledge ko sa broken foot injuries, like, matagal yung recovery niya. Like, seeing NBA players suffer broken foot. Like, sometimes career ending pa nga yun. But this guy comes back after 2 months and he was doing bumps. He was going at it earlier. Like, how the fuck did this guy get in shape in time for Anarchy in the Arena? But I think hindi pa siya 100%. But the Anarchy in the Arena is a match na you can hide injuries like that kasi multi-man match naman siya. So I think he's gonna be there, but he's not gonna do as much as we expect from a typical Darby Allin match.
Yeah,
so tatalon lang siya from a high place once lang.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I mean that's probably what he's there for, diba? To do some stupid stunt, diba? Like do a
Hindi siya tatalon sa glass ngayon kasi mild lang eh.
So do something. Mali mo, tumalon siya from the rafters into 10 panes of glass, diba? Sana wag. Please, sana wag.
5 panes lang. Kasi nga, mild lang eh.
Diba? Sana, malay natin. Basta feeling ko yun naman talaga role niya dyan eh. Diba?
Oh, to sabi Glendale, mababangga lang siya ng golf cart. Mild lang naman yun eh.
Yeah.
You know? I just want to make it clear for people who are listening. We're laughing now. Tawa-tawa tayo, joke tayo. Pero pucha, underneath the joking, legit concerned kami para sa taong to, okay? Kasi hindi biro yung mabundol ka ng bus, tapos yung prognosis para sa'yo 1 year kang on the injured list. Di biro yun,
He was supposed to climb Mount Everest, diba? That's what he wanted to do. Diba? And then, nasagasaan siya ng bus. So, I don't know. I mean, Darby siguro knows his body better than we do, obviously. So,
or baka gawa siya sa adamantium.
Maybe.
Diba? Okay. Then again, we said what we said. we're not in the room where it happens. Di natin alam ano talaga yung situation with Darby Allin and his health and all of that. Hindi tayo mga doktor niya. Si Emile, yung assignment niya, kontakin yung doktor ni MJF. Di pa niya ginagawa. Diba? So, di natin alam kung ano yung, baka naman hindi naman sobrang grabe yung injury dito kay Darby Allin. Or maybe, somebody leaked na sobrang lala ng injury ni Darby so that when he comes back, it will be such a shock na pag-uusapan natin like this. Diba? Galawang wrestling. Di natin alam.
Yeah. He's got the John Cena healing powers. Yes.
Yeah, I guess. No, dude, Chino was out for 6 months when he tore his pec or whatever it was. Noong 2008, tapos nagulat tayo, diba? Oh, Royal Rumble, John Cena, number 30. He was still out for half a year. Ito, pucha, 2 months lang eh.
Yeah. Yeah. So, nakagulat talaga na he was, we weren't expecting him to be that fourth guy, but here we are now.
Here we are. All right. Crossing over to NXT, we've got a new champion in Tony D, who has won the NXT Heritage Cup Championship. So napanalunan niya from Charlie Dempsey. It's kind of weird the last few weeks para dito kay Charlie Dempsey and the NQCC. So Drew Gulak, diba, hindi na i-renew yung contract niya. He got taken out of TV. And then after that, there's this new story where pinaligpit nina Charlie Dempsey itong si Drew Gulak through the D'Angelo family, tapos hindi pala nagbayad si Charlie Dempsey. Hindi siya tulad ni Adriana Rizzo na meron dalang sobre na puno ng pera at any given moment. So it all led to this where kinidnap sina Miles Bourne and Damon Kemp para kala may sa salvage pero buhay pa pala. And then they came out for the save right in the nick of time, but it wasn't enough because Tony D'Angelo got the best of Charlie Dempsey. So now he's NXT Heritage Cup champion.
I really like this. Go, Emile. Sorry.
No, this is very random because the Heritage Cup Championship, ever since bumalik siya on TV, is always prided as this technician championship, the technical wrestlers. So this is the first time that someone outside from that won the NXT Heritage Cup champion. So
from what, Emile? From the mold of a technical wrestler or from the NXT UK?
NXT UK. Oh, yung UK NXT UK brand or branding. You know, so
okay.
I'm very kasi before the match they were mentioning this na this is something that Tony D'Angelo doesn't really have any experience going through an Heritage Cup match, but you know he won at the end. So I'm very interested now as to what the championship will be under the D'Angelo family. So this was a very exciting win, and when he won, nagulat din ako. Wow, he's a champion. I was expecting Charlie to retain because kaka-champion lang din ni Charlie like a month ago, so 2 months ago. So very surprising news, and I welcome the change.
Was this Dempsey's first defense as champion?
No naman. NQCC has been defending it like with Freebird rules or with catch rules.
Okay, tama. Okay, I forgot about the Freebird. But I like this change. Okay, it's with the Heritage Cup because when tama si Emile, nung pumasok tong Heritage Cup ito, it was this smarky insider thing. Na parang, kailangan nanood ka ng NXT UK para mag-gets mo siya. Diba? It has that sort of appeal and aura, which I get. It has its own sort of market. But kasi now, where they're trying to incorporate everything in the general mythos and the air of the WWE, I like how they're using something that is so revered as the Heritage Cup and incorporating it into, sabihin na natin, silly storylines with the D'Angelo family. Diba? Like character storylines, yun na lang, with people like the D'Angelo family and Tony D. Kasi tama naman din na hindi natin in-expect. Ako personally and Emile did not expect Tony D'Angelo to be walking away with the cup. But now that it's there, now that it's part of that canon, diba, it'll be interesting to see kung ano pang mangyayari dito sa Heritage Cup. It's also a good consolation prize considering a few PLEs ago, si Tony D failed to capture the NXT UK championship from NXT championship from Ilya Dragunov. So at least now he gets his own title. He also gets to defend it Diba? And he also gets to showcase what else he can do as a champion. Diba? See, Tony D is also a collegiate athlete, if I'm not mistaken. So
That's right,
it's
amateur
another one.
wrestler. So technical
That's,
wrestler din si Tony D'Angelo because he
yeah,
is a
diba?
former amateur wrestler.
Okay.
We don't see it as often kasi nga he's this mafioso character, but he is
Yes.
actually a former amateur wrestler. He has that background. So maganda nitong showcase for him in the future. So again, only good things I can see from him winning the Heritage Cup.
I think yung bigger takeaway lang dito is how new it is for an American to be holding the NXT Heritage Cup Championship. Kasi the previous winners have all been from outside the US. Whether it's Noam Dar, who's Scottish, Tyler Bate, who's British, A-Kid or Axiom, who's Spanish, Charlie Dempsey, who's, I guess, British-American. Ito si Charlie Dempsey, diba? American by citizenship. Kasi pinanganak at lumaki na in the US. Diba? So, but like, you know, I hate to use the term, but a real American like Tony D'Angelo finally being NXT Heritage Cup champion is very refreshing to see. So I guess I get where you're coming from dun sa point na yun. All right, we'll stay with NXT after this break, but first let's hear from our other podcasts right here on the Pod Network.
Hey, it's Nikki Porter, and I'd like to invite you to catch the episodes of Nuggets of Nikki, a podcast where I share bite-sized insights as a relationship coach. Because, in case you haven't noticed, healthy relationships these days seem very hard to come by. Everyone seems to be dealing with their own ish, right? They don't want to commit when they deep down want a relationship. They want to connect with their partner, but they ignore them instead. They know that something's bothering them, but they don't tell their partner, so they resent them over time. You know, the usual stuff. So how do we navigate through all of that, especially if you want a relationship that lasts? Well, as cliche as it sounds, it really, honest to God, begins with you. Through each episode, we'll work through all the different variables at play that might be keeping you from becoming an empathic partner by first figuring out how you can be a worthy partner for yourself. If this sounds like your type of podcast, be sure to give Nuggets of Nikki a follow. Then let's get to it.
All right, before we get to this next point, we just have to mention si Darby Allin does have an active link narratively dito sa Young Bucks, so it does make sense na siya yung replacement. Baka lang may magsabi rin na, look at these haters, once again spewing all this venom at Darby Allin or making fun of his injury or whatever. Na, we do recognize that it does make sense na siya yung pumalit dito kay Eddie Kingston. Moving on, back to NXT. At the very, very end of the show, hindi man na makapag-celebrate na maayos si Tony D'Angelo because the cameras cut to backstage where tumba at lupasay itong sina Wesley, Ivar, and Josh Briggs thanks to Gallus. And Joe Coffey now has a villain mustache, much like Booker T. Wolfgang still looks the same, and Mark Coffey is now semical. So what do you guys think of Gallus being back and reintroducing themselves this way?
Wait a minute. I have a question. When kailan sila nawala sa NXT? And what was the reason?
To be honest, I don't even remember.
Diba? So,
and they lost something, diba? Like, is that if I remember their last match natalo sila. I think it was for the championship, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the comment section can clarify.
Kasi the last time I saw them was they were competing for the tag team titles. So parang right. Surprising na ganito yung like they are back and they're telling na Gallus is back. So parang like matagal ba sila nawala?
So medyo. I mean, look at how different they look. Yung
nga pa.
Ang similar lang para sa akin from the last time we saw them on TV is nagpapakilay na si Joe Coffey. Like, the last time they were on TV, medyo regular yung pagpapakilay niya. So I'm glad to see na that routine has stuck. The eyebrows are still on fleek. Ito, sabi ni Ina, the last feud was with Ridge Holland. That's right.
So it wasn't that long ago, diba? Like, I still remember we were talking about the Ridge Holland thing on the pod. So it wasn't that long ago. So nabigla ako na ganun yung treatment sa segment na to na it's like they've been gone for such a long time. But it's a welcome addition. So welcome back to the Gallus. I mean, they're always one of the reliable acts on NXT, whether it's Joe being a singles guy or them being a trios or them tagging. So I expect them to go after the tag team titles or maybe Joe Coffey going after Oba Femi kasi they attacked all of the challengers who went out and challenged Oba for the NXT North American Championship early on the show. So
Well, shit,
very
I hate to
interesting.
spoil it for you, Emile.
What? Yeah,
Well, they
so
already taped yung episode ng NXT for next week, and it does
oh
involve Joe Coffey and the North American Championship picture.
yeah, so that's probably where they're headed at. And Mark and Wolfgang is probably going to go after the tag team titles once again. So I think I know. So Gallus is now back, and I know, and they are back in it again. They're going after titles.
Mhm.
I like how you just read the caption, but I also like how they're treating Gallows as a threat, as a menace here. Diba? Kasi nung the Ridge Holland storyline kind of ended a little strangely. But at least now they're back and they're treating them proper. They're making them a menace kasi dito sa UK, they were a dangerous stable. Diba? They were an actual threat. So dito, sa NXT na to, sobrang dami ng tao dito sa NXT. Diba? It's easy for Gallows to just disappear in the shuffle here. So I'm glad that they really, when they brought them back and they repackaged them to look this way, to act this way, they immediately drew everybody's attention. Diba? Nakita natin agad na, oh my God, Gallows is back. Diba? Yes, you really think about it like Emile did. You sit down and think about it. Yes, hindi talaga mahaba yung panahon na nawala sila. But I like how they're hitting the reset button on Gallows here because it's an acknowledgement of wait lang. Hindi yata gumana yung first treatment ito. Let's try something else with these guys. And so far, yun lang, it's always room for improvement, diba? Especially with Gallows.
Let's answer Ager's question, who asks, where's Lexis King? Off signing autographs for JC Jane, where he misspells her name as Jackie. So there's that. Still being a cloud chaser, basically.
Yeah.
A nice little side character ngayon sa NXT, itong si Lexis King. Last couple of things we got to talk about for tonight. Let's get on over to, I believe it's TNA. Pag-usapan natin next, tama ba? Yeah.
Yes, Impact.
Yes, for Impact. So this is huge news if you love your TNA the way that Chino does. And I'm not talking about the TNA from the Jerry Lawler Puppies era. I'm talking about actual TNA wrestling, where Joe Hendry and his theme music organically charted on the UK singles charts. So this is big news, which hit it made its way to the BBC, which is like the top media outlet in the UK. Malaking balita to kasi yung UK singles chart katumbas siya ng Billboard Hot 100. In fact, it is the equivalent talaga ng Billboard Hot 100 to the point that there are some artists that shoot for the UK singles chart more than the Billboard Hot 100. So for a wrestling theme that lasts all of 1 minute and 30 seconds, however long it is, to make it there, that is as mainstream as TNA has gotten since Broken Matt Hardy from 2015.
Also considering na si Joe Hendry was the one who wrote and produced and even sang his own entrance music, diba? So he's an independent musician, diba? Who has a song out essentially that charted and beat Taylor Swift in the UK singles chart. Ganun ka big deal to. When they asked Hendry about it, he was surprised himself. Now, he knew that there were people in the UK that were using his songs on TikTok as a sort of meme, diba? But never did he expect na aabot siya sa top 4 sa UK singles chart. So, I mean, very surprising on everybody's end. But congrats to Joe Hendry.
This is how...
nagsimula...
Sige, Emile, go ahead.
Nagsimula to sa TikTok eh. Itong Joe Hendry trend na to, matagal na to actually. I've been seeing this on TikTok for a while. And dito na, mababa na tayo dito. And I've been a fan of Joe Hendry for a long time actually. Ever since his days in the UK scene, I remember seeing a video of him parodying yung kanta ng yung Blue. The title is Blue, the old classic. When he was mocking Drew McIntyre. So that was the first exposure I have of this guy. I've been a fan ever since. And hanggang ngayon sa TNA, he still does his parody songs. Para siyang Michael V. Yun, para siyang si Michael V of wrestling. Now, he has so many parody songs about all these different guys. The one that he made about AJ Francis, formerly known as Top Dollar in NXT, was such a hit as well. So this guy, if this is their first time seeing or hearing about Joe Hendry, this guy is one of the funniest guys in wrestling. And
Yeah, super entertaining.
super entertaining. And but you can see his stuff in TNA. It's like sobrang kwela.
Yeah. I've seen Joe Hendry live actually back when he was doing his local hero shtick. I'm not sure kung naabutan mo yun, Emile, yung Joe Hendry, local hero. Para may music din yun, and he was advertising himself as yung Mang Jose nung suburb niya in the UK, diba? Mang Jose, ang superhero na pwede mo arkilahin. Si Joe Hendry yun sa UK Indies back in the 2010s. I caught him live at an ICW event back in 2016 where I saw sina ZSJ, Drew McIntyre, Marty Skrull, etc. So dun pa lang, like I had an idea na okay, this guy's one to watch, but to see him cross over to music, here's how difficult it is to chart sa UK singles chart. There are certain acts na kinalakhan natin na galing sa Britpop scene who haven't hit number 4. So for Joe Hendry to actually make it there through organic means, diba? Just because people found his song meme-worthy or people have been using it on TikTok, that's such a huge deal, especially given na yung trend ngayon ng music is a lot of old music or mga previously released music is cool again because of TikTok. It's no longer about ano yung bago or kaka-release lang. It's really about what goes viral on TikTok. And more often than not, it's this old music na rediscover, and then someone's like, uy, parang okay itong gamitin sa TikTok ko or sa reel ko ah. And then magva-viral siya. And then yun yung magpapachart dun sa kanta. So that's kind of what happened here with Joe Hendry because his theme music has been out for a good year plus.
Kala ng mga bata, bagong banda lang yung all-time low. Eh. So, I mean,
I just watched all-time low a few weeks ago. They were great.
So, ganda ang gandang story nito. Gandang Papa GV.
Yeah, it's definitely a good sign, diba? Tama nga din na yung old music sa TikTok is starting to hit again. So, good for us fans of old music and good for wrestlers and independent artists like Joe Hendry.
Yeah. All right. Last bit here before we call it a podcast. There's some news about Cyberfight wanting to maintain its relationship with the WWE. So, ito kakalabas lang just a few hours ago. Cyberfight is the parent company of Pro Wrestling Noah and DDT. So, yung new president nila, his name is Yasuaki Okamoto. Sabi niya in a press conference na one of their targets is to strengthen their relationship with the WWE, which is huge for him to say in a public forum, diba? Especially given na for decades, itong WWE operated as the lone wrestling company in its own bubble. And then in recent years, I mean, sure, in the 90s, if you remember the Royal Rumbles from the 90s, diba? Vince McMahon was actually cross-promoting with luchadors and with wrestlers from outside the company. And then that just stopped for a very long time. So recently, nung si Triple H na yung nag-take over, ito na, we're seeing the TNA crossover. So Mickey James walks in as Knockouts World Champion. Jordan Grace pops up in the Royal Rumble. Shinsuke Nakamura crosses over to Noah. The Great Muta gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. Diba? Shayna Baszler in Bloodsport, Charlie Dempsey in Bloodsport. So it's pretty good. It's pretty cool na you've got this piece of news coming out here. And siguro yung links to just strengthen this, just to add context. Yung Cyberfight, the parent company, may parent company pa yon. It's called Cyber Agent. And it owns the streaming service called Abema. Doon naman ume-ere yung Raw, SmackDown, and PLEs in Japan for WWE. So meron ng inherent relationship there, I guess, which kind of led to this working relationship with WWE and Cyberfight. This is just me speculating. I only know the bare bones of whatever the relationship is. Obviously, anything else is way above my pay grade.
Well, but yeah, definitely good news kasi, diba, again, there was a time where we didn't see this happening at all, and yet now we got Mickey James as the Knockouts champion appearing, si Jordan Grace as the Knockouts champion appearing. Ang dami nangyayari. Shayna crossing over to Bloodsport, Charlie Dempsey crossing over to Bloodsport. Yung mga sinabi mo, Stan, never ko in-expect na mangyayari yun, and yet here we are. So it really is a different day and age now in the WWE. So who's to say na hindi mangyari tong crossover na ina-expect ng mga tao, diba? Like, who's to say that we don't get WWE wrestlers taking a trip to Japan or vice versa, diba? It'll be huge, especially for the wrestlers in DDT and Noah, since hindi sila kasing kilala ng mga wrestlers in New Japan right now. So ako, hindi ko sila masyadong kilala personally, so I think it's huge because it introduces us to a new subset of Japanese wrestling.
Yeah, this is good news for all parties. I mean, this is again a new era for WWE, and they have said they're open to working with these other companies, and yung mga seeds pa lang yun, yung mga Shayna Baszler who went to Bloodsport, Nakamura going to Noah. So I'd expect more of that to happen in the next few months, next few years. Not on the level of the Forbidden Door na lahat, lahat like sobrang dalas mangyari, but paunti-unti, just to tease to tease the fans and surprise the fans as well. So any working relationship, I'm okay with. I'm good with. That's just better for the wrestling sport overall. So yeah, good news to. It's very good news.
Yeah. I think yung dream match ng lahat, or dream scenario ng lahat rather, knowing na meron palang relationship between WWE and Cyberfight, aka Noah and DDT, is the idea of Yoshihiko being WWE champion and getting that Triple H picture na nakaturo si Triple H sa kanya. I think that's all we want. I just want to call a Yoshihiko match in Tagalog, okay?
That's gonna be awesome.
I mean, never say never, diba?
Never say never.
I never thought na magko-commentate ako ng Stone Cold match or the Rock match, and yet here we are. So, if those things happened in my lifetime, maybe I could call a Yoshihiko match one day.
Yep, the potential is endless with these working relationships, diba?
Yeah, move over, Rubber Chicken. Yoshihiko's where it's at.
Yoshihiko versus the yung Thanksgiving turkey wrestler.
The gobbledygooker.
Yeah, there we go. Yoshihiko versus the gobbledygooker. Wow.
I think the less said about the gobbledygooker, the better at this point. On that note, that's going to do it for everything that we've talked about here on the podcast. We really appreciate you coming over and hanging out with us, spending some time with us, whether it's on the live stream or dito sa audio-only versions on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Let's get to some plugs on our way out of here. Chino, what's going on in your end of the woods?
Yes, so the Class Clown podcast is fourth season. It's just about wrapping up. I have 2 more episodes coming out. One coming out this Friday with Jeannie Lakay. She is one of our female comedians in Comedy Manila and also one of the proponents for Isinay weaving or traditional weaving from Nueva Vizcaya and the northern part of Luzon. So she talks to me about her business, her side project in Arugahan Wovens, and how she essentially became the new head weaver of the country. So, gandang conversation yan about a different part of the stand-up scene. Also, we got a few shows, doing a special show this Friday, tomorrow. Ito especially dun sa mga taga-north of Luzon. Mga nasa Bulacan, nasa North Caloocan, nasa Fairview, because I'm doing a show in Novaliches, of all places, to help out the people of Little Gaza and, of course, Palestine. We're doing a fundraiser for them. Stand Up Palestine Part 2, headlined by Mr. Leland Lim. I will be there, as well as other comedians. It'll be at Meshwe Restaurant in Novaliches. If you want tickets to that, head to Meshwe Restaurant's Facebook and Instagram pages. And that's where you can catch me.
All right. Ikaw, Emile, what's going on in your end?
Wala naman, just follow the pod on all the social media platforms and also subscribe to our Patreon where you can read our reviews of the weekly wrestling shows.
All right.
Also, habol ko lang, manood kayo ng Fuchsia Libre because it's rare. It's rare that we get a local movie that is centered about wrestling, around wrestling. So laking bagay niyan for the scene, for the movie scene, and for the wrestling scene. It's still in theaters out now. I'm gonna try and catch it over the weekend. And sana tumagal pa siya sa sinehan.
Yeah, for about an hour plus, lahat tayo makakapag-fantasize na yung wrestling kayang bumuhay ng tao at ng pamilya dito sa Pilipinas. Okay, for me, I've got some PBA work over the weekend. Nasa radio coverage ako bukas for San Miguel versus Rain or Shine Game 1 of the Philippine Cup semifinals. And then Game 2, nasa Smart live stream naman ako on commentary for the same series, SMB versus Rain or Shine Game 2. So two teams that I've enjoyed covering this conference or this tournament. It's great na na-assign ako for the same series for these two games over the weekend. So whether you're catching it on PBA Radio or on the Smart Sports live stream, sana samahan nyo kami. And you can support local basketball the same way that we ask you to support local wrestling. One last plug, DexCon Decada happening on May 26. That is Sunday. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jake De Leon. I'm calling it biggest match on Philippine soil. It's probably not on the scale of an event like PWR Homecoming was, but ZSJ and Prime JDL in 2024. If you're not catching this show, you better have a damn good valid reason, like tickets being sold out, all right? Or I don't know, like some life and death mishap or whatever, because this is really one of those events that you have to be there for. All right, so magkita-kita tayo sa DexCon Decada May 26. Ito si Babyface producer Jasper nalulungkot, may FOMO na. Di pa nga nangyayari yung event, FOMO na. So,
naubusan siya eh. Sabi niya sa akin kanina.
Yun, pa-smuggle daw sa loob. Jasper, di tayo smuggler. Masama yun. Parang piracy yun eh. Piracy ng tao. Diba? Ano yun? Krimen yun. Ayaw namin makulong. Right. On that note, we got to end this episode of the Wrestling Podcast. Thank you so much for catching us and making us a part of your weekly wrestling diet. If you can, please leave us a 5-star rating and follow the pod and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you very much to Babyface producer Jasper and all of our friends over at the Pod Network for all of the work that they do behind the scenes. And we will catch you next week for weekend reactions, picks of the week, and predictions for King and Queen of the Ring, as well as Double or Nothing. On behalf of our co-hosts Romoran and Rowan ASH, who can't be here tonight, as well as Emile Nate and Chino Liao, ako po si Stan C, saying thank you very much, stay safe, stay healthy and hydrated, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast. Out. Later, Outcasts.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company,